Well, the more the light intensifies in a person's life, the more the darkness is there. The devil's at the door. The more challenges that the average see. Realize that the vast majority of the mediocrities are safe in their mediocrity. They never confront the devil. The sage, he walks beside the devil.
Right.
Right. So they're hiding in the light. Ronnie and I talked about this as well, and we've said it before in so many other ways. But you're quite right. And also don't forget that on the other side, the establishment has hidden the truth for us. We're always seeking for. So Fight Club's a good example because he handed back a false masculinity to a guy who was totally feminized. And you'll even accept that rotten version of, fight. Now it becomes the masculine in the most obscene type, but he'll accept that, because our society's been feminized. So when he's talking about the Martha Stewart world and the comforts of, all that he had known, that is just pacification for serving the beast. And there is some part of us that rebels against that, either through insomnia or physical sickness. That's what I believe. Physical sickness is the rebellion of your spirit against yourself. Let's get into that later on, right? But then you do seek another light. But then that can be the false light coming in. It can be, because the archetypes have been stolen from us. And we're constantly in search for those archetypes. So every beautiful woman that comes, you fucking fall on your knees. She's a fucking goddess. She could be a fucking empty vampire, right? And a girl, same way, looking for daddy. So she goes with a thug covered in tattoos, smoking crack, selling it. A desperate thug who should be, executed on sight, but she thinks he's wonderful. Look at the banjacks mentality, right? So, and also then the third thing, nobody noticing that their mentality is banjacks, completely,
right,
completely unaware of it. But the Aaron Rousseau thing, like I said, that there's an agenda to split us up, and then that will definitely take an inner turning as well. Where they're going to divide you inside. They're going to pollute you with the negative foods, and those are drugs. Then the subliminals as well, which is part of that whole idea to sell you back something that they've raped from your spirit in the first place. But there was one question I had. I don't know. Maybe you can throw it out. And it sort of comes like, when you and I was in the interview, I couldn't remember the name of an author who had given a theory of disease that it's actually there because we've devolved. We're not spiritually in our power. And therefore, all the diseases manifest that wouldn't even manifest for a true sage, because those diseases are actually good things. They're red flags to show us that something's deeply off kilter, And then when we ask these gateway questions about who am I, why am I here and where am I going, those kind of gateway questions, those are all positive and good. But there's a tendency for those questions then to lead us into sort of an Apollonian world that negates the physicality. Of course, this is not true in the martial arts movement. Even people who grew up on the movie Kung Fu or the series, the body is huge, and no matter what martial arts field you turn to, they're including the body. But let's think about kids, who've never been exposed to that. And they have this, what they think is a spiritual awakening at some given point, 20s or 30s. And the body has not played a part, and the diet has not played a part. There's something bad there. That's not going to lead too good, because we are the only species that asks a question about our creator. We're surrounded by species, objects, and entities that never ask about who created me. Something about the human brain does. And we're unique. It was so unique, we don't even notice that this is a unique thing. I mean, look how ridiculous that is. We don't even notice that we're the only beings who can pose questions about a potential creative force that brought us all into being. People don't even contemplate the unbelievable mystery of that and the brilliance of that. But there's a negative in that as well. And that is when you start asking questions about the up, you stop asking questions about the below, and the below being the body. So we are distinguished by the fact that we ask questions about what brought us into being and what might the anatomy of spirit be. And everybody's got their own thing on that. But the downside is that we stop asking below. So the question, for me, the balance is keep asking those ontological questions about the above. Take you into idealism, mysticism, whatever, personalism, you name it. But never forget asking those deep questions about what is a body? What's that connection all about? Like that. But when we had the interview, I couldn't remember the name of this book, and it was by Robert Becker. Actually, the book was called The Body Electric, which I'll put a link below. And he was the one who pointed out this fact that because we don't have psychic or spiritual immunity anymore, we then have the opposite, which is disease. And he's really trying to say that disease in that sense is to try to return us then. It's a natural force. Can you believe it? So rather than being something negative, and I'm bringing this up because maybe our audience, can learn something from this. Change your attitude towards disease. Make it a friend. And this can even be stretched to neurosis and mental disease. But let's just think of it in terms of just physical ailment, diabetes, or, any impairment, like not good breathing or not good posture or any other malady, acne, or, whatever it might be. Like you mentioned posture earlier on. He is saying that in all, any imperfection that meets us as spiritual beings, and I think Walter Russell will be like right with us here, those diseases are good in the sense that they're recalibrating us, you see, to the real inner compass of spirit. And try to get this back to our spiritual rectitude and spiritual power. What do you think about that, Ronnie, first, please, if you will?